Hello YouTube. Today we're not doing a raycast tutorial, no. Today we're doing a 3D tutorial. There are two types of Sprite 3Ds you can do. Let me just pull them up. You have this simple one, which is cloning with X's and Y's. Z's. And you've got some like D7. Now, the advantages of using something like D7 is you can clone that you don't need to duplicate a bunch of sprites to have a bunch more. There's really no real big advantages, to be honest. They're both relatively the same way of function, I guess. But anyways, we're going to create some variables. Going to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 variables. That's what we're doing. I'm going to create 5 variables. X for the sprite only. Y for this sprite only. Z for this sprite only. T for this sprite only. M for this sprite only. So, we have all of that. Now we're going to start first with the cloning. So when flag clicked, hide, repeat 10, set X to pick random negative 10 to 10. Set Y and set Z to pick random negative 10 to 10. Then set Y to 0. So as you can see, boom. Now I'm gonna set T and set M. T we're gonna set to 294. And M we're gonna set to 0. M is going to be set to 0. Yeah, M isn't going to be anything. So just do that. You don't need to put these in the code yet. You don't have to put M in yet. But T, you don't have to put them in. Like that. So, great clone of myself. So, now, what are we going to do? Well, now we're going to drag in when I start as a clone. Forever. Go to X. So dragging it times. Dragging T right into there. Then drag it in a division and put it in the front. I'll set that to go to X divided by Z times T. Duplicate that, put it in the Y, and change the X to a Y. Then we're going to set size. Set size. Duplicate that again. We get rid of the X, the Y, and set it to 2. So 2 divided by 7 times T. And then go backwards. Go backward Z layers. So whatever Z is, that's how many layers we're going to go back. So far you should have in this, when I start as a clone block, when I start as a clone forever, go to X divided by Z times T, Y divided by 7 times Z times T. Set size to 2 divided by Z times T, and then go backwards Z layers. Now we're going to do the walking for this. So the movement, when I start as a clone, show forever if key W pressed. We'll do if key up arrow pressed. Then change Z by negative 0.5. Duplicate that. If key down arrow pressed. Key down arrow pressed, change it by 0.5. That's for our forward and backwards movement. Duplicate that whole script and do if right arrow key pressed and change X. No, if key left arrow pressed, change X by 0.5. If key right arrow pressed, change X by negative 0.5. So, as you can see, actually, if change left to A and right to D. So we've got our forward and backwards and side to side movement. But we can't turn, can we? Yep. So let's do that. This is going to be the confusing part. This is going to be the harder part. So when I start as a clone, forever, set M to X, then set X to negative. It's confusing even for me to look at. So dragging the minus, then dragging a times in the front portion, dragging X to the front of that, then make it times cos, which is the bottom of operators. It's the abs block. Click the down arrow, click cos of negative 5. Now just duplicate that whole portion, make it, change the X to Z, change cos to sin. Oh shoot. Put all of this inside a if left arrow pressed block. If key left arrow pressed. So yeah. Now duplicate that, make it set Z to M of M times sin sign of a negative 5. Make it a plus. Make it a cos of negative 5. And we're done with left arrow turning. That's it. Now for right arrow, just duplicate the if left arrow pressed. Change it all to 5 instead of negative 5. So now we have turning, forward and backwards movement, and strafing. So you can see. Works awesome. Works very great. And well, that's it. Really isn't a whole lot to this. It's the simplest way. It's the most simplest way to. It's the most simplest way to make a 3D engine. Don't need to worry about all that World X and such. Now, there really isn't much of anything left to do. Yeah, it's not that hard to really make these games. Make obviously a backdrop. You'd want a backdrop. I've got a Doom one on hand, so I have a Doom one on hand, so that's what I'm gonna use. And look, boom. Super simple. It's a very simple engine. Now, thing is, when you make this engine itself, there is no collision, unlike in like a D7 or Shockwave, where there is detection. But it's not that hard to actually add collision. So, if you want to see more done with this, let me know in the comments. If not, I'll probably do a part 2. But yeah, that's how to make a simple 3D engine. 3D engine on Scratch. Now, I've got some things to say. So, why should you want to use this instead of raycasting? And raycasting makes the 3D world. Well, you see, the reason for that is quite simple, really. Raycasting is limited. So is this, but so is raycasting, but sorry, something fell. Yeah, something fell over him. So yes, raycasting, it's harder to add in sprites, especially if it's an ARC engine. ARC stands for Array Raycaster. Sprite-based raycaster, it's easier to add sprites, but with this, no problem. And the great thing about this engine, like the others, is you can duplicate the sprite, change its costume, make it Abby. Change some stuff around. And it still works fine. So, if you want to see more done with this, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear you guys' opinions on how my channel is doing. Suggestions for future engines, for future videos, whatever. I'm also on Steam as with the same username, the Cheez It 3s, and then 1 instead of E's and I's. So yeah, very simple engine. I would recommend it. I'd recommend this type of engine, if you want to get into like Sprite 3D engines instead of raycasting or wireframe. Oh, I don't even want to get started on that. It's so confusing. But there are simple ways to do that, so I might do that in the future. But yeah, that's it for today. Suggestions, comments, part 2 maybe, who knows? Just comment down below. Anyways, I'm Freedoomer, and I'll catch you on the flip side.